what I'm about to cover is reflect and connect, which are the first two steps to the framework. So you saw today there are 6 steps in the framework, but for a guy like Fabian, and maybe even less, you guys want to build a team, you got to have a framework. If you don't have a framework, you could go out there and say, hey, do it like me, watch me and do it like me. But as far as effectiveness, that won't be as effective. So it's important to have a framework that we can point to and say, hey, here are your first 2 steps. So that's where I'm going to go with this today. All right. All right. So, and then I'll open the call. And if you guys have any questions, we can get to it. So welcome to today's call. Today we are working on the Money Brick Road, and I'm going to be doing a deeper dive into step 1 and 2. Step 1 is reflect. Step 2 is connect. And I'll be going deeper into these steps so that you will know exactly, what you need to do to get out there, get after it, and start getting deals. And so the very first thing we do in the framework is to reflect. And so what does that mean? I told a story earlier about my boy, my 12-year-old. He's a little soccer star, and he's dreaming of becoming a pro soccer player. And so we were off to a soccer game the other day, and he had a horrible game. He got in 2 injuries. He went head-on with the goalie. He also got cleated in the quad, and he scored no goals. He's a leading scorer. And on the way there, he was caught up in his head. He was negative. He was not focused. And my wife and I were trying to talk to him and get his head straight prior to going to the game, but we did not do it as maybe effectively as we could have. So he went out there, got hurt twice, scored no goals. And so how many times do you go out there, get hurt twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and score no goals? See, that's exactly what happens when you don't center, get present in the now with what you're doing. And so that's what reflecting is all about. Reflecting is about you getting centered in the framework, okay? So the sales framework that we teach, and by the way, you're going to get lots of frameworks, but one of them is serve, solve, sell. Serve, solve, sell. So prior to you going out to doing the thing, what you do, you want to get centered in serve, solve, sell. So what does that mean? Get your intention clear. Get present. What are you there to do? So when you get present in the now and you get present to the framework, serve, solve, sell, you are going into the field to make a difference. And so the serve part of that is that you are going out there to uncover people's problems. You're going out there to determine if they have a problem to begin with. And you're going out there to work on helping them to see the problem. If they don't see the problem and you don't learn how to get them in the fear of the problem without scaring them, without being manipulative, this is an art form. It's a science and it's an art. You're going to lose deals. If you go out there with what some people call commission breath or fangs, with your fangs, with blood hanging off your fangs, like you need money, you will lose deals. Your energy has to be that you are there to serve. You are there to align. You are there to help. Now, it goes without saying, if you're successful in that, you win. But even if you're unsuccessful, you still win. It's just winning differently. You're winning in the form of education. You're winning in the form of, and you know, let me back up here. If you're effective at it, forget about successful. It's a more of a duality, succeed and fail. You never fail. You'll always succeed. Rewiring the mind here. So were you effective or ineffective? When you go out there with the intent to serve, to solve, to sell, you're going to be effective. So that's number one. Number two, you want to use mental rehearsal. If you're not using mental rehearsal, I'm not sure what you're focused on. Your focus could be on anything. And we want to make absolutely certain that your focus is in the right direction. And so by using mental rehearsal, we will know your focus is in the right direction. So mental rehearsal means to start with the end in mind and continually starting to teach yourself. Remember, I told you I'm not going to teach you what to think. I'm going to teach you how to think. Well, when I show you this approach, starting with the end in mind and using mental rehearsal, I'm teaching you how to think. Kobe did this better than anyone. If you listen to Shaquille O'Neal talk about Kobe Bryant, like it's unbelievable what this guy did. Even Jordan edifies him, like the way that he focused his mind. So you want to use every advantage you have. So mental rehearsal means starting with the end in mind. So what's the last thing that happens on an appointment? You're driving off to your next appointment. And what happened right before that? Well, you were saying goodbye to the customer. You were hugging, you were high-fiving. You were saying, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for your business. I'll be here for you. What happened right before that? Well, you were at their kitchen table writing it up. And what happened right before that? You were showing them how to invest in this. What happened right before that? You were correcting. You were showing them the product and how it is going to create a glorious future for them. And what were you doing right before that? You were detecting. See how I can go backwards and forward? When you know a framework, you can, oh my, you will be so powerful. Even mentally imaging this in my mind. So I was detecting. I was facilitating the fear. What did I do before that? I was inspecting. Where are you now? What was I doing before that? I was connecting. I was warming up. What was I doing before that? I was reflecting. Right here, right now. See, I can go all the way to the end, use my mind, create images in my mind. This is what reflecting is all about. Get yourself present that you are there to serve, solve, sell, and then start with the end in mind, a protected customer, and go backwards and visualize it all the way back. Actually, prior to connecting, what did we do right before that? We hit the door. And what did you do right before that? I was in the car reflecting. See? So getting your mind right. And you don't have to reflect before every appointment. You don't have to necessarily. But prior to going out in the field, you should get your head screwed on straight. Serve, solve, sell. That's the framework. The bigger framework here is the sales framework. And that is the money brick road. Reflect, connect, inspect, detect, correct, protect. And trust me, I could break down your demo, what you do with customers, and I will show you in which of those particularly 5 categories, because the first category, reflect, is just preparation. But the 5 categories, connect, inspect, detect, correct, protect, you show me what you do, I'll put it in a column because it's going to fall into one of those 5. I've already thought this through. So to reflect, you get present, serve, solve, sell, let go of anything distracting you, and then you mentally rehearse protecting people from the very end back to the beginning. And you start running those images through your mind. They have done so much research on mental rehearsal. And I have to believe if it wasn't all that important, why would Jordan, Kobe, These great athletes, Conor McGregor, one of the greats of the UFC, they all talk about it. They become a champion and they interview him. Joe Rogan interviews him and said, "Can you believe you won this fight?" And they'll answer him and they'll say, "Yeah, I ran it through my mind 10,000 times." They all say the same thing. So pros, sales creators envision from the end to the beginning. That is the reflect section.